And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a trick-taking game from Studio H, Hagakure, or how it's pronounced, I'm not quite sure. This is a small trick-taking game for 3 to 5 players in which you are trying to score the most points. There's only 2 suits in this game, blue and red, and there's only one number of each number that there is in the game. And of course there's a couple, I say of course, there's 3 old fools in the game. What does all this mean? Let's take a look. The game is made up of a deck of cards, and you'll notice there's 2 colors. You have villagers and you have samurai. And the villagers are numbered 1 to 17. The samurai are numbered from 18 to 27. And then there's also 3 of these old men here, or old fools actually, are in the deck. Now if you're playing with less than 5 players, you're only going to play with 6 through 17 and 18 through 22. And then you'll just play with fewer cards per person if you're playing with 4 over 3. But each round of the game, you're going to deal the cards out, but you're also going to have several cards in the middle. There's like an extra hand of cards in the middle, and this is called the yomi. Everybody else is going to be looking at their cards. Players also have 5 tokens, and you can use these tokens once per game. So in any given round, I can say I'm going to use this token, which will double all the points I get that round. Or this token, which is I get 0 points no matter what happens. Or this token, which lets me look at the cards in the yomi or in someone else's hand. This one lets me switch my hand with the yomi. And this one says if I win 4 tricks, I will get an extra 2 points. Then each round someone's going to go first, and that person can play any card from their hand. Each other person will play a card from their hand, and whoever plays the highest valued card gets the trick. The only rule that's different is if someone plays a samurai card, a red card, everyone else must play a red card if they have one. If not, you still play a blue one. And the old fools, one of them is a 0. But if one is ever played in a round and someone plays a second one, that card is automatically the highest one. Of course, a third one would be even higher than that and would win the trick. Now, each trick that you win is worth 1 point. But also, the 18 card is worth an additional point. It says it on the card. Why is this one worth an extra point? It's the lowest samurai, the lowest red card that's out there. If you win no tricks, you lose 2 points, which is why you might want to play this token that says you get 0 points in a round because you can avoid that. And then you go to the next round. You're going to play a certain number of rounds based on the number of players. So in a 3-player game, you'd play 9 rounds. 4-player game, you play 8 rounds. A 5-player game, you play 5 rounds. You add your scores together, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Component-wise, you have all these tokens. They're fine. They're not that hard to figure out what they mean, and they're different colors for each player. The cards are really good quality, and as far as I can tell, each card has a completely different piece of artwork. Nice linen finish, nice size. You don't really need to know anything about it, and like I said, the one that's worth an extra point mentions that on the card itself. And then the old fools themselves, you know, they look silly. But, I mean, I'm a big fan of this artwork. It's not a lot, though. I mean, when you put it in a box, that's pretty small. Then there's just this reference card. The rules are well written. And then, of course, there's a scoring pad included for you to keep track of the score. Bop, bop, bop. I tend to enjoy trick-taking games. I think the idea of a trick-taking game is a lot of fun, trying to figure out. In many ways, this is simpler than most. I like it because there's a certain amount of perfect information, as in there are 5 cards removed from the deck, so they're out there, but you know there are 5 cards removed from the deck, so they're there, 4 cards depending on the number of players. So what's in that yomi there, and what are people playing, and you know who's going to take the 18? Now, as you saw in that example score sheet, it is a low-scoring game. And after 9 rounds, to get like 18 points is just not a lot. There's very low scoring, and so every point matters. You want to win every trick that you can. The game comes down to a couple things. One, when do you play those tokens? The one that gives you an extra 2 points if you take 4 tricks, that's huge. You get 6 points in one turn. Think about that. In a 20-point game, that's a huge swing there. Knowing when to play the 0. Hey, I'm not gonna do well this round. Although there's plenty of ways to take a bad hand, saying I get 0, but if I have a really bad hand, I'll switch with the Yomi. That does 2 things. I know that I have a better hand, probably, and I know what cards are in the Yomi. So I now know a good chunk of the cards in the game. So why am I not giving this a seal of approval? And that's because, A, it doesn't stand out tremendously. Yes, there's the 2 suits, and the lowest card of the higher suit is worth a point, and it's a little interesting there. It's just too long. 9 rounds for 3 players. I mean, don't get me wrong. The fact that it does 3 players is a positive. And goes up to 5, that's nice, because most trick-taking games tend to do best at 4. So that's a positive. It's just too long. And you say, well, then just play fewer rounds. Yeah, but then the tokens kind of lose their luster. You need to make sure that you're using one. If you only played 5 rounds, for example, you use a token every round. I found it interesting, and then mundane, and then it got boring. I was like, oh, we're doing the same thing again and again. Now, it's not long. Even playing 9 rounds, it says 25 minutes in the box. I would argue that it's probably a little bit longer than that. But it feels longer. It feels like, hey, I'm doing the same thing again and again. Sometimes you get a lucky hand. You're going to do well that hand. You're going to score points even in whatever the other players do. The Old Fool is very fun if there's 2 or 3 of them out there. You know, I'm watching for the Old Fools. I have one. If someone plays it, but at some point you're going to be forced to play it because it's a red card and you have to follow another red card when it's led. So like I said, it's the cusp of things interesting, but how can I tell you that I think you should get this when there's so many other trick-taking games out there that I think are probably better? Great production, great looking. You have 3 people who want a trick-taking game. This might be the one for you. I just found it slightly less than where I want a trick-taking game to be. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see y'all next time. Dice Tower Judgment, decent.